Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now we head into Delta State, where the Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress is drawing a battle line with the state government over the newly introduced dress code for its civil servants, as the state government insists that the policy is aimed at promoting discipline, decency and professionalism within the civil service. In a recent directive, the Delta State government had mandated male workers to wear suits from Monday to Thursday and traditional attires on Fridays. The state government also prohibited braided or tinted hair, long eyelashes and artificial nails. Joining us to react to this development is the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress in Delta State, Mr. Goodluck Ofobroku. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Let's get your immediate reaction when you heard of this new policy that was implemented or is set to be implemented. What was your immediate reaction?
I was very, very sad because as representative of the workforce, if you have issues with regard to the dressing of workers and you want to implement a new policy, you ought to discuss with the leadership of the workers, but that was not done. Arbitrarily, a circular was issued telling us that this is how we'll be dressing henceforth, and apart from that, they now stated the type of clothes to be worn by civil servants from Monday to Thursdays and what is to be worn on Fridays. For example, on Fridays, they said native attires are allowed, but it must, in the circular, that it must be senator suits or modern day kaftan and no resource control or purpose cap. I will say why. We do not have the kind of money they have. We don't have money to sew senator suits. We are not politicians. We don't work in the National Assembly or State House of Assembly or any other political office. If they have money to sew senator suits, we don't have. So our high target to Accra, that is within the reach of our salary, is okay. The civil service rules 04314 states that no officer should dress in a manner that will be deemed inappropriate for the work he's performing. It didn't say we must put on suit or senator suit or modern day kaftan or shirt and tie and trouser. So that is where we said no. You ought to have discussed. They will draw your attention to the kind of jobs we do before we know the type of dresses people will wear. Some workers are agriculturists. They live in farm settlements. Once they wake up in the morning and eat their food, the next thing is to enter inside the farm and begin to work. So if I am on level 16 and I live in the farm settlement and work there, you expect me to be wearing suits inside the bush or inside the farm? So those things were not taken into consideration before they came out with the circular. So that's why we are objecting to it.
Now, Comrade Ofobroku, you said we no go agree because the money we they earn no reach chop. That's a very powerful statement. Can you paint a picture of what the average Delta State civil servant's financial reality is today and how this could make it difficult for workers to abide with this new directive?
Well, you know, in Delta State, the minimum wage is 77,500 naira. It cannot even sew one suit. It cannot pay for house rent because in Asaba, a two-bedroom flat is 1.5 million a year. Room and parlor self-contained is 1 million. Just a bed sitter is between 700 and 800,000 naira. So if you now say we managed to borrow money to pay for our house rent, managed to borrow money to pay for our children's school fees, managed to borrow money to even transport to work because there's no mass transit, then you now want to further task our pockets. So that's why I say no. The money, even a level 14 officer does not get 300,000 in a month. And even if he gets 300,000, before you will take the complement of taxes and other deductions, the money falls to about 200,000 because you have to pay your tax, which is the PE, you have to pay contributory pension, you have to pay for health insurance, you have to pay for national housing fund and others. So the money will fall to 200,000. A good suit, a manageable one, is about 120,000. Now you say we must wear suits from Monday to Friday because they said all administrative officers must put on suits at all times. You wear suit from Monday to Thursday. Administrative officer at level 8, his salary is about 210,000 before tax and other deductions. So if you now remove tax and everything, it gets less than even the minimum wage as his net pay. And you are now bringing a dress code that will further task our pockets. Workers in Nigeria, particularly in Delta State, are under pressure as it is presently. So, and we have so many challenges in the public service in Delta State. Dress code is not part of them because workers in Delta State, within the limits of available resources, are already dressing very well. But for somebody to wake up and think we are politicians, I want us to be dressing as expensively as politicians. That's why we are saying no, we not go agree because what we are earning cannot afford those clothes. For example, there are people that are paid wardrobe allowance in Delta State. For the politicians get wardrobe allowance. Members of the House of Assembly in Delta State and their staff, they get wardrobe allowance. Judges get wardrobe allowance. So they can afford to dress and put on all those suits they are talking about. But for the ordinary civil servant, even the one that is getting minimum wage, whose salary is 77,500 before tax, you are saying this is how you will dress. Now, they say uniform personnel can put on their uniform. The civil service rule says government should provide uniforms. Where they cannot provide uniform, they pay them money to enable them wear those, sew those uniforms and wear them. They didn't give them money to buy the uniforms. They did not provide the uniforms. And you are not telling them that this is how you must now dress. So that is why we are saying no. We not agree. Why you didn't consult with the leadership of the workers so that we tell you our pain and our inadequacies. Then, two, you are trying to further task our pockets. We are not politicians. How can we be dressing like politicians? This senator suit they are talking about, it just came started raining about 10 years ago. Maybe in another 2 years it will go away. And when the senator suit has faded out, maybe a new type of dressing will come. Then they will now come and say they have changed government policy again, that this is how we dress. No, civil service rules say we must dress decently. And we are already dressing decently. In some parts of the country, do they put on suits?
I'm glad you mentioned that.
If you go to Abuja, how many people do you see putting on
I'm glad you mentioned that, sir, because I want to ask you, because for them to feel the need to implement a new dress code, part of what they're saying is they're talking about promoting discipline, decency, professionalism. What was the dress code like amongst civil servants prior to this announcement?
To us, the dress code has been very, very good, official. You see people putting on shirts, tie, their trousers, and they dress decently. It has at no time fallen below standard. We are not against dressing decently. We are not against being disciplined in the service. What we are saying is that the civil service rule they are quoting, section 04314, only stated that we should dress decently, appropriately, that was the right word. But they are now listing the type of clothes. That is where our challenge is. Say that it must be senator. So it means that if I buy this eye target Accra for about 30,000 and I use 15,000 to sew it, and I dress nicely with it to the office on Friday, because it is not senator suit, they will say I'm not properly dressed. That's what we are saying, that no, I must not put in senator suit or modern day kaftan for you to say I'm not properly dressed. That's not what the rule says. When we joined the service, we signed acceptance of offer of appointment based on the terms. We cannot work for maybe 15, 20 years. Now, at the middle of the road, you now say you are changing it. No, that is not how things are done. The civil service rule that is applicable to debtors, that is what applies to the 36 states of this country, including the federal government. How many people, if you go to Abuja, how many people have you seen putting on suit or senator suit as civil servants? You go to the court, how many people do you see? Is Baba Riga and Captain Debe? Has it affected their productivity? No. Has it affected the discharge of their duties? No. So we are saying, no, let us put on what is suitable. This suit you are talking about is for the Western world. That place is cold. So they put on suit, and even in the office, they drink tea to warm themselves. Yeah, the weather is hot. Most times, some of these offices do not have light. You now want the people to cramp together and be putting on suit because of professionalism. Civil servants are drivers of government policies and programs. In Delta State, we pride ourselves that the government is doing well. They are able to discharge their policies and programs effectively, and they even commend the civil servants. So why would they not come and be talking of professionalism and this and this? How has it affected their policies and programs?
Now, comrade, you've raised many important points and very valid points also. You mentioned the climate, you mentioned the civil service rules. We put it at, every civil servant is expected to dress decently. Now that the government has done this, and in your opening statement, you said the government should have consulted the Labour Congress and other stakeholders. So my question to you is, where are we at this moment? And as this new policy, this new rule for Delta State civil servants, has it taken effect? And is there still room for dialogue to reach a middle ground? So you could share some of the things you shared with our viewers, with the government representatives.
Yes, well, there is still room for dialogue. We have had a robust working relationship with the government of Delta State over the years, so we do not understand why this is coming up at this point in time. What we have said is that for those who have the resources to put on these new dresses they are listing for us, contrary to what is in the provisions of the civil service rules, they can go ahead. Nobody will object to that because they have the resources. But for those who do not have, because they said they will sanction anybody who does not do what they want. So we said for those who do not have the resources, they should go ahead and continue to dress nicely, neatly, and appropriately as is stated in the civil service rules. That anybody that is victimized because he didn't have money to buy senator suit or to sew three-piece suit, the person should come to Labour, and Labour will protect that person because that is our job. As I speak with you, we have summoned an emergency meeting of the State Executive Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress to determine the way forward. Some people have come out to be saying, what is happening, why are we doing that? We say, no, we have the right, as is stated in the Constitution of Nigeria, to protest any government policy that we are not comfortable with, and that is what we are doing. Whatever we are doing is in the labor laws of Nigeria. That is why you have the Nigerian Labor Law, you have the Trade Union Law, you have the Trade Union Act, and the Trade Dispute Act. If we discuss and there is no agreement, then we will declare a dispute. We will declare a dispute, because if they say our members do not have money to buy cloth and they now want to be sanctioning them, they will declare a dispute with them, as is stated in the Trade Dispute Act 2005.
All right.
Then the State Executive Council will determine the next line of action. Mine is to prosecute whatever the State Executive Council say, because we are representative of the workers, and 95% of the workers are solidly with what we are doing.
All right.
There are officers who should have official vehicles. They do not have. Nobody is talking of that. Stationaries are not there. Nobody is talking of that. Is it the dressing that is now causing a problem? How has it affected productivity? How has it affected professionalism? They have not been able to tell us anything. It's just that some people are occupying offices and want to show that they have power. They want to intimidate workers, because workers in the state have become the playground where everybody can come and march the ground and go away. And we say no. We are civil servants. We were employed to perform certain functions. How we perform it is not your business. Engineers that go to site to supervise projects when they are measuring sand, when they are measuring gravel and cement, missing them, they will be checking whether they have missed it properly. Are you saying they should put on suit and go to their work? There's a way engineers dress. Julius Berger that is working in Nigeria, you see white engineers, they come here, they put on t-shirt and jeans.
All right.
It is not it is not the dressing that that does the job. It is the human being that does the job.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Ofobroku, thank you for joining us this morning. This is a broader conversation to look at beyond the civil service. We also know that there's a law against indecent exposure. It's called the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. That was a conversation much earlier here on our show. We're hoping that we can have a broader conversation that is all-encompassing in this regard. But thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me once again.
Thank you, Comrade.
Thank you.